In today's video, I'm going to give you all a master kind of ninja tactic strategy so that way you can find yourself motivated sellers, people that are willing to sell your house at a discount, and you don't waste your time with those that as a beginner, they seem like they're interested, they're motivated seller, they're willing to sell their house at a discount, it's a good deal, and then it actually turns out that it's not a good deal. So I got off the phone call with the seller today, and I was really conscious of what I was saying on the phone, and just so that way I could make it a video for you guys and kind of break down what my strategy is. And I was doing this whether the lead was going to be a good lead that was going to turn into a deal or someone that wasn't really motivated. Because when I heard the voicemail from a callback on one of our marketing campaigns we sent out a while ago, this guy left a voicemail and he sounded pretty excited to jump on the phone with me and have me make him an offer. So it seemed a little bit too enthusiastic, so I kind of already knew off the bat that the guy wasn't a motivated seller. And then after getting on the phone with him and literally asking him two questions, I found out pretty quickly that they weren't a motivated seller. And so some of the things that we talked about inside of this phone call, were along the lines of this guy had a house that he was renting out that the tenants were moving out in a couple of months, and the guy was getting older. He was tired of kind of managing these tenants, so valid reasons to sell your house. But literally after talking to him very briefly, he was able to tell me that he wasn't motivated whatsoever and he wanted retail price for his house. And so what I really recommend that you guys do, if anyone ever seems they want to get rid of their house, what I really recommend that you do is give them all of the options available for their house and actually push them away. Tell them that you don't basically make it so it seems like you really don't want to buy this house. You want to buy it, but you want to buy it at a good deal and for it to make sense. So right off the gate, when I was talking to this guy on the phone, he was telling me that he already, it doesn't need that much work and it's all in good condition. It just needs new paint, new carpet. So I asked him, I was like, well, why don't you just hire a realtor to sell the house? And he's like, oh, I'm planning on it actually. In 7 days, if no one gives me an offer, then I am going to list it with the real estate agent. And right away, that's a big red flag that they're not a motivated seller. If they're even considering selling it with the real estate agent, and that's kind of their backup plan, then that doesn't really make that much sense. Or when they really start to talk up the property, oh yeah, I put in this much work, I did all this, we replaced this day, and they just make it seem like they're super proud of this house that they have. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally okay. It's just people's personality, especially when you put in a lot of work or you get a lot of you fix a lot of things in a house, you're usually pretty excited about that. But as people start to talk about their house more and more, and they seem more and more excited to talk about it, usually these people are very, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just passionate, I guess, lack of better words at the moment, passionate about their house. It's like their child almost, and they want to get the most for it. It's just very obvious in just how they talk about it. They're just very excited to say what all they've done with it. And obviously, the more that they've done to it, the less distressed or the less chances of them being a motivated seller actually are. And so on top of this, it sounded like they were talking to a lot of people. I definitely wasn't the first or the last person that they called saying that we buy houses. One of those we buy houses signs, obviously what wholesalers post and everything. And this guy was pretty honest and upfront. He's like, yeah, I want to make sure that you can make money on the deal. And then I'm like, okay, how much are you willing to sell it for? And I briefly just looked at the numbers on the house. It was worth my ARV was $260,000, and the guy's like, oh, I want $240,000 for the deal. And as a beginner, you're thinking to yourself, wow, okay, this guy's $20,000 off of the listed price, so this is a good deal. I should sign this up, get moving on it, and go find a buyer. But me being a little bit more experienced, I got to recognize that $20,000, yeah, he's dropping the price, but it's literally removing it's just all the costs removed off of the closing. There's really no discount whatsoever. If me personally were to buy this house, put in the work, get it fixed up, sell it on the market, which it literally didn't need that much work, if I were to do all these things, maybe I would make $1,000 or $2,000. And that doesn't make sense going through all this work with it being a $200,000 house. making $1,000 to $2,000, it's a lot of risk for such a small amount of money that you're making. And that's granted, you don't have any sort of other fees associated with it, because the realtor is going to take a cut. You're going to have to pay all the closing costs. You're going to have to pay 2 closing costs, actually, because you have to buy the house from the guy. And then you're going to have to pay, there's going to be closing costs involved with selling it as well if you sell it on the market. And at the end of the day, the only way this property would make sense is that as a rental property, which at that point, the guy might as well just sell the house on the MLS, the multiple listing service, the what realtors list everything on. Just list the house there rather than have like someone buy it under the table or basically off the market. It really doesn't make that much sense. And a landlord would just buy it off the market and wouldn't really make any difference to that guy. Like, it would actually probably make a couple $1,000s extra, even though it might be a little bit more of a headache. He's got the ball in his court. It's going to be a lot easier. I mean, the circumstances that the guy's in, it's just going to be a lot easier to sell it with the realtor rather than waste everybody else's time that is buying houses off market and everything. So at the end of the day, kind of where I'm going with this is you want to make sure that you kind of ask all the right questions, so that way you can make sure that you're not wasting any time and really just pushing the seller away and making it so that way they have to sell it to you, like they're just like in desperation wanting to sell this house to you, for you to really know that they're a motivated seller, because we don't want to waste time with people that it's going to be a big pain in the butt just to make such small margins, if it's even possible. If I were to sign up this deal, I would get laughed in the face saying like, this is silly. Like, they probably removed me from the picture, as far as like they would just tell me like, hey, I'll give you $500 for this deal or something like that, which that doesn't really make that much sense, at least for how much time is involved into making this deal happen. So I'm just kind of bringing you guys through all of my mind, like my process that's going through my head on what I feel whenever I'm talking to a seller that is obviously not motivated, even though this guy literally was telling me, hey, I'm not motivated. But on top of this, I could see a lot of beginners falling into, oh, this is a good deal, $20,000 off the market. I should go take action on this and go sign it up. Which obviously I really recommend that you take action. But on top of that, I think for those of you that are beginners trying to get into wholesaling, I think you really just need to have a lot of experience with talking to people on the phone and really learning what the difference is of a motivated seller and a non-motivated seller is. If you need a good example of each, then honestly just go try to sign up as many deals as possible that kind of makes sense to you. Obviously, like, I wouldn't recommend signing up this deal, but as a beginner, the best way to learn that you made a mistake or that this isn't a motivated seller is for you to sign up this contract and then having to cancel it. I hate canceling contracts, but honestly, that's the best way to learn that this isn't a deal. I mean, if you were inside of my course or something and we were talking, I would definitely tell you, don't sign up this deal. Just walk away from it and move on to the next one and see if follow up with them later. But I mean, if you're not inside of my course, this is the best advice that I can give you. Just go out there, take action, fail forward, be okay with making mistakes, and just keep pushing on forward. But what I really recommend is giving the seller all of the options out there. I even told them, hey, why don't you just get a property management company to just manage all this? And then they handle all the repairs and everything and get everything all figured out for you. And then it's just passive income. You don't have to worry about anything other than just paying the property management services and everything. And this guy was like, oh, like that's like I want out of this and everything, but I also want to get the most for my property. So gave him the option, didn't want it. And obviously, I could send him off to a property management company if he didn't already have one. That's part of the other thing as well, is just this relationship business, is referring people over to other businesses. So for example, if this guy wants to sell it with a realtor, which I could tell that he already had a realtor lined up, but if someone wants to sell a house with a realtor and they don't have a realtor lined up, then I'll definitely refer them off to another realtor. And what this does is it kind of builds up your relationship with all these other businesses that you normally do business with. And it builds your reputation up as well while you're helping this person out, this seller out. So if they're ever if the seller's ever in a situation, don't be afraid to refer them off to some other business. Even if you're not making money off of it, feel free to send them off to somebody else that can be able to help them out. And who knows, it'll come back eventually some way or another back in your favor. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Don't waste too much time talking to people that aren't a good deal. but at the same time, you need to take action and kind of learn what is and what isn't a good deal. So if you want to learn how to do all that stuff and be really good at talking with sellers, just like I am, and have me basically have my words come out of your mouth so that way you know exactly what to say, make sure you join inside of Wholesaling ASAP. It's kind of like a shameless plug. I never talk about my wholesaling course. But anyways, this seemed very applicable to the scenario. So anyways, if you guys want to learn all that, check out the links in the description down below. But if you haven't already, join the fam, join the game by hitting the subscribe button down below on the channel. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers. So anyways, thank you guys so much. So I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's video. Peace.